Good evening and welcome to today's NoorNews Bulletin. Tonight, we track the escalating tensions in the Middle East following a deadly exchange of strikes, and we report on the latest developments from the front lines in Ukraine. Let's begin with the devastating impact of today's missile attacks on Kyiv. Ukrainian drone strikes have targeted major Russian online retail warehouses near Moscow and in the Tambov region, resulting in casualties and significant infrastructure damage. The facilities, operated by the e-commerce giant Wildberries, were struck in a coordinated operation that officials in Kyiv have described as a strategic move to disrupt Russian supply chains. According to reports from the BBC and NPR, the Ukrainian leadership has characterized these warehouses as critical logistics hubs. Kyiv claims these sites were being utilized to store and distribute sanctioned components essential for Russia's ongoing military efforts. While the Russian authorities have confirmed the attacks and the resulting fatalities, they have not yet provided a detailed assessment of the specific goods destroyed in the blazes. The strikes represent a shift in tactical focus, moving beyond traditional military installations to target the commercial infrastructure that supports the broader Russian economy. International analysts note that these operations are intended to complicate the logistics of the Russian defense industry by hitting the warehouses that facilitate the movement of dual-use technology. As of now, emergency services remain on site at both locations to manage the aftermath of the fires, while both Moscow and Kyiv continue to exchange conflicting reports regarding the full scale of the impact. Tensions in the Gulf have escalated significantly as U.S. forces and Iranian-backed groups exchange strikes following the deaths of 2 American personnel in Jordan. For the 8th consecutive night, U.S. military assets have conducted targeted operations against sites linked to Iranian interests in the region. These strikes are framed by Washington as a direct response to the recent drone attack that resulted in U.S. casualties. Meanwhile, Iranian officials have reported a counter-response, claiming that their forces successfully launched a series of drones targeting U.S. military installations stationed in Kuwait. According to reports from the BBC, Al Jazeera, and NPR, the situation remains highly volatile as both sides continue to trade fire. Analysts suggest that these developments represent a dangerous shift in the regional security landscape, moving beyond proxy skirmishes toward more direct military confrontation. While the U.S. maintains that its actions are defensive and intended to deter further aggression, Tehran continues to deny direct involvement in the initial Jordan attack, characterizing the U.S. strikes as an infringement on regional sovereignty. As international observers monitor the situation, the risk of further miscalculation remains high, with diplomatic channels currently strained amid the ongoing cycle of retaliatory military maneuvers across the Gulf theater. Tensions in the Persian Gulf have escalated significantly as the United States conducted airstrikes against Iranian territory for the 8th consecutive night. According to reports from the BBC, Al Jazeera, and NPR, the strikes targeted the Sirik and Hajabad areas within Iran's Hormuzgan province. The United States military stated that these operations were carried out in retaliation for the recent killing of 2 American soldiers. In a direct response to the bombardment, Iranian forces launched a series of retaliatory strikes against U.S. military bases located across the Gulf region. The exchange marks a sharp intensification of hostilities, raising concerns regarding the stability of maritime transit routes and regional security. While the U.S. maintains that these actions are necessary to protect its personnel, Iranian officials have characterized the strikes as a violation of sovereignty, vowing to continue their defensive posture. International observers are closely monitoring the situation as both sides remain locked in this ongoing cycle of military engagement. As of now, casualty figures from the latest round of strikes remain unconfirmed, though local reports indicate significant damage to infrastructure in the targeted Hormuzgan districts. Diplomatic channels remain largely silent as the military confrontation continues to unfold across the Gulf theater. Hungarian President Tamás Suliak has agreed to step down from his position following a formal vote by the national parliament to remove him from office. According to the BBC, the decision marks a significant political shift, as Suliak had been widely regarded as a staunch loyalist to Prime Minister Viktor Orbán. The president had faced mounting pressure in recent weeks, with Parliament setting a strict deadline of Saturday night for him to formally accept the terms of his departure. While the government has maintained that the transition is a matter of administrative necessity, political analysts suggest the move reflects deeper internal tensions within the ruling Fidesz party. Suliak, who assumed the presidency with the backing of the Orbán administration, had until the weekend deadline to signal his compliance with the parliamentary motion. His departure now triggers a constitutional process to appoint a successor, a move that is expected to be closely monitored by European Union officials concerned about the stability of Hungary's executive branch. As of Saturday evening, the presidential office confirmed that the transition of power would proceed as mandated by the legislative body. Further details regarding the timeline for the selection of a new head of state are expected to be released by the parliament in the coming days. A new European Union border control system is expected to triple processing times at passport checkpoints this summer, according to reports from the BBC. The implementation of the entry/exit system, or EES, will require non-EU citizens to provide biometric data, including fingerprints and facial scans, upon their first entry into the Schengen area. Airport operators have expressed significant concern regarding the logistical impact of these mandatory checks, warning that the additional administrative burden will inevitably lead to longer queues for international travelers. The situation has prompted major airlines to issue formal advisories to their passengers. Ryanair, Europe's largest budget carrier, has explicitly warned customers to prepare for extended wait times at airports throughout the upcoming summer season. The airline has urged travelers to factor in these potential delays when planning their arrival times at terminals. While the EES is designed to enhance security and modernize border management across the bloc, the transition period is anticipated to cause widespread disruption at major transit hubs. Aviation industry representatives continue to call for increased staffing and improved infrastructure to mitigate the impact of these new requirements, as airports brace for the operational challenges posed by the shift in border procedures. German politician Jens Spahn has announced his resignation following intense public scrutiny regarding his use of a surrogate mother to start a family. The controversy centers on a perceived contradiction in the former health minister's political record, as he had previously supported legislation that maintains a strict ban on commercial surrogacy within Germany. According to reports from the BBC and DW, the revelation sparked significant debate across the political spectrum, with critics arguing that his personal actions undermined his long-standing legislative stance on reproductive rights and family law. While surrogacy remains illegal under the German Embryo Protection Act, Spahn's situation has intensified calls from various parliamentary factions to revisit the country's current regulatory framework. In his resignation statement, Spahn acknowledged the public backlash, noting that the discrepancy between his private life and his past policy positions had become a distraction for his party. The incident has reignited a broader national conversation regarding the ethics of international surrogacy arrangements and whether existing German laws are sufficient to address the complexities of modern family structures. As of now, no further legal action has been initiated against the former minister, though the political fallout continues to resonate within the Bundestag. At least one person has been killed and 9 others injured following a series of Russian ballistic missile strikes on Kyiv and the surrounding region early this Sunday. Emergency services were deployed to multiple sites across the capital as air defense systems attempted to intercept the incoming projectiles. According to reports from Al Jazeera and DW, the attack caused significant structural damage to residential infrastructure, prompting local authorities to urge citizens to remain in shelters as the threat of further strikes persisted throughout the morning. The strikes mark a continuation of intensified aerial campaigns targeting Ukrainian urban centers, with officials confirming that rescue operations are currently underway to locate survivors trapped beneath the debris of impacted buildings. While the full extent of the damage is still being assessed by regional military administrations, the incident has once again highlighted the vulnerability of the capital's civilian infrastructure to long-range ballistic weaponry. International observers note that these strikes follow a pattern of increased volatility in the region, as both sides continue to exchange fire across the front lines. Further updates are expected as local authorities provide additional information regarding the status of the injured and the specific areas affected by the bombardment. Thank you for joining us for this verified report on today's global headlines. We remain committed to bringing you the facts as they happen. NoorNews, verified before published.